Hi YouTube, and welcome to my kitchen. I thought I'd show you tonight how to make very easy homemade peanut butter fudge. And it takes no time at all, and it's a hit in this household. Very simple. Let's get right to it, and I will make sure that I put the recipe in the comment section, in the description section rather. So if you don't catch it all as I'm going, it's right there for you. First off, we take a medium saucepan and we put it on medium heat. So about there, okay? I have half a cup of butter, which I'm going to melt in the pot. It won't take very long at all on this stove. It's a ceramic top, so the heat is direct on there already. You melt the butter in the medium saucepan over medium heat, and once it's liquefied in there, I have 2 1/4 cups of brown sugar that I'm gonna put in there. It's already starting to liquefy. Very quickly. Just needs a little assistance to get it to melt down a little. Okay, because it's not going to take very long, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the brown sugar right now. It could use an extra bit of time anyway to melt in, and it won't take long. So that's 2 1/4 cups of brown sugar going in with the butter. And you simply stir that around. Try and break up any of the lumps in the brown sugar. There always seems to be some. Now this fudge takes about 15 minutes to cook or put together, say, and then about an hour and 20 to an hour and a half to chill down in the fridge to get to a solidified form that you can cut up and eat. See, it's already moving around quite well now. That's already starting to, that hasn't been even a minute or two. Okay. Now I have half a cup of milk here that I'm going to add in to the sugar mixture. Start mixing that in. I have all this pre-measured just to make it easier and quicker to go through to show you. Otherwise you can measure it as you go, but thought this would be easier. Now this mixture as it sits has to come to a boil, and once it does, you boil it for 2 minutes. Now the boiling for 2 minutes is pretty much a science, because you're looking to reduce some of the liquid and start it to caramelize the sugars. Blend them right. I'm just gonna speed it up just a little bit, not much. It's already well incorporated. This is just a sometimes treat for us. We don't do this all the time. This is a lot of sugar. It's since we found this recipe, it's one of our favorites. Now, once that's boiled for 2 minutes, I'm going to be adding peanut butter. I tend to favor name brand peanut butter. I think it's worth it to go with the name brand for the amount you're using. I'll get to that in a minute. And one thing I'd like to mention too is an easy variation on this. This is smooth peanut butter, but you could use the same quantity of chunky peanut butter, and putting it together like this, the peanuts will be distributed throughout your fudge. So it saves you measuring out separate peanuts and adding them in if you just use chunky peanut butter and you're good. But that's personal preference. If you like crunchy, and that's fine. But the standard recipe uses smooth. See, it's already, there's no more lumps left in the brown sugar. Now we're just bringing it up to temperature to boil, which will happen very shortly, I'm sure. Once it starts to boil, I'm going to turn the timer on to be sure I get that 2 minutes. As I said, it's kind of a science with cooking. When you combine ingredients in a certain way, or a certain temperature, or a certain time, there's a science behind it that makes things react the way they should. Okay. Very shortly now it's going to boil. I can tell right now. See the film that's coming on the top of it? That's starting to hit the boiling process. If you just bear with me a second. I'll jack the heat up a little bit more just to start it going faster. I'd like to do this in one segment just to show you just how quick and easy this is, so you don't get a wrong sense of how long it takes. If you watch the counter on the video, you're going to see just how long it takes to make this. It's very quick and easy. It's a lot of stuff you have in your kitchen already, especially if you're into baking or cooking. A lot of these ingredients are basics. Brown sugar, butter, milk, peanut butter. There's vanilla and icing sugar, and that's it. Okay, it's starting to boil. As I said, there we go. Now I'm going to set the clock for 2 minutes on my timer, and it'll count down for me so I don't have to mind the time. Turn that down a bit so I don't burn anything, but that's how quickly it can start to boil. You notice the color is also starting to change. It went from a dark to a really light, and that's because it's reacting with the sugars. And lift it off a little bit when it starts to get boiling too much. Don't want an overflow going. Very easy to whip together. Now this would be good for just a everyday treat. Oh, see, down to 1 minute already. I'm counting down. It'd be good if you were having people over. You could put out a little tray of fudge as a treat for them. And as I said, it's very easy to tailor this if you want to do chunky peanut butter and have pieces in it. You could do different flavorings, just a dash of different flavorings in it. And I'm sure if you like chocolatey stuff, this recipe will also adapt well to, say, something like Nutella, which would give you that same kind of a nutty thing, but with a chocolate hint to it. Okay, there's my 2 minutes. Turn my timer off. Okay, and we now remove this from the heat. Okay, now here's where we stir in our peanut butter. Now the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter, but I prefer to use 1 cup, and I'll tell you why. It gives it a stronger flavor of peanut butter, and all you have to do to compensate for the extra peanut butter is use just a touch more of the icing sugar to thicken it up at the end. So here goes 1 cup of smooth peanut butter going into the pot while it's still hot, which helps melt that peanut butter into liquid because it's already hot. It's going to melt it down easier. Now this is a little tricky. You don't want to splash yourself or get yourself burnt in any way, so just take your time and work at it. Break it down into smaller sections so the heat can get to it. Looks very interesting at this stage. Okay. Now, that's the 1 cup of peanut butter in there. And you add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now this is optional, but I find I like it in there. Oh, got to turn the burner off. That was not good. Okay, there's the vanilla in there. Now, the next step, it's well incorporated now. It's pretty consistent. The next step is you get a large mixing bowl. I prefer this one. It's got a non-skid base and it's nice and sturdy with a handle. In that mixing bowl is 3.5 cups of icing sugar. Okay, and as I said, because I use a little bit more peanut butter, there's about, I'd say, closer to 4 cups of icing sugar in that bowl. Now we take this peanut butter mixture and we pour it over the icing sugar. That's a lot of sweet right there. But seriously, this is how it's made. Okay. And there we go. Now, mix that in. Now, you see the texture I've got going here now. The best way to deal with that, I found, you could stir it for hours by hand. But what I do is I take my mixer, my hand mixer here, and I just blend it thoroughly for 2-3 minutes, just to get it back to the smoothness I had. And I'll pause the video right here and do that rather than burst your eardrums, and I'll be right back. Hi, we're back, and as you can see, it is now smooth consistency. And that didn't take very long at all. Like I said, maybe 2 minutes.
It's like a pile of peanut butter again. Oh, it does.
Okay, now the next thing is to put it into an 8x8 baking dish. 8x8, 9x9, depends. It'll vary the thickness, that's all. I have lined it with parchment paper. This is basically how all the fudge shops do it, because it preserves the fudge better in the fridge. It doesn't let it get dried out too much in the parchment, and it makes it easier to serve. Now see how it's holding together really. It's already starting to set up, and you dump it into the pan like so. And that's all the peanut butter oils and stuff in there that are turning it into that. Now, the big deal here is to get it spread out in the pan into the corners, like so. There we go. Doesn't have to be smooth as glass. This is homemade fudge. You're not looking for perfect. You're looking for yummy, and I think we've got that. Now, all that's left to do is to throw it just like it is into the fridge. I'm going to put it on the top so nothing can fall into it. Like so. And leave it there until it is firm enough to cut up and taste. And we'll cut the video here, and I'll be back when that's done to show you the finished product. Stay tuned. Thanks. Hi, and welcome back. And it's only been about an hour and a half. I gave it an hour and a half, and our fudge is ready. It's ready to be cut and served. Now, what I like to do is cut a piece somewhat like that size. You can always get another piece. And this is fairly rich fudge, so you don't want to cut too big a piece and find out you can't eat it all. As I said, you can always get a second piece or third, or yeah. Okay, so there's,
That's small, I want to.
as I said, you could have 2 or 3. The first piece out is always hard. You end up mangling one. But there we go. Now they're a little odd shaped, especially near the edges because of the parchment, but one more. Make it easier to serve as you get into the pan. It's just near the edge that's really hard to get to. But there you go. Peanut butter fudge. All done in, well, an hour and a half of chill time and about 15 minutes maybe of actually putting it together. And you've got homemade fudge at a third of the price it would cost you to go and buy it. Hope you enjoyed the recipe, and give it a try yourself, and maybe a variation, like I said, the Nutella instead of the peanut butter, and have fun with it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.